what is more important than building a fire or even having water on you to keep you alive in the wilderness? Can you think of what it is? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Modern Grunt Survival. Today we're going to talk about building a hasty shelter, specifically to get away from weather like this, stay warm and dry, and do whatever we have to keep our body temperature regulated. Okay, so the rain's gotten to the point where I really have to set up shelter now. It's coming down pretty heavy, but really quick I wanted to identify natural shelters. This tree has really good canopy underneath it, and as you can see, I got my hair still pretty dry just with the canopy of the tree. So just because, you know, it's raining doesn't mean you need to set up shelter. Make sure it's to the point where it's too much rain and you're not comfortable with how much you're gonna get wet. So, and it's getting to that point now. I'm gonna go ahead and set up shelter. I got a waterproof wrap on my pack, got my wet weather top on so I can keep my core temperature dry. I'm wearing jeans out here, but I do have Gore-Tex and Vibram soles on, so I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So let me get to my shelter site, which should be another 40 meters up here, and show you how to get this hasty shelter set up really quick. Entering my shelter area here, you can see I have decent canopy up above me, and got a tree or two to link in. I'm just gonna make a little triangle here with my poncho and link into that tree, or one of these, whichever way works best for me. As for my gear, you can see my bag is a little wet, but only the part that's not really holding anything important. This is the part that is taking brunt of the moisture. I'm going to come in from this side because my radio is on the other side. This is my permanent shelter kit here if I'm actually building camp for the night. But this is my quick shelter kit. As you can see, it's ready to rock, and I got everything I need in here. In the meantime, I'm gonna leave my bag leaning on the wet stuff. I don't mind if this gets dribbled on again, and it's against the tree, so I got some canopy up above. Gonna go ahead and unpack this and set it up as quick as I can. All right, so I got shelter set up here. Bag is sitting across the corner. You can see it's a pretty decent amount of space I have. Nothing crazy. I'll get out and show you real quick, but this is all I need to stay dry, and this is also going to keep a good bit of my warmth because of how low it is to the ground. It'll help trap some of my heat so I won't get cold out here. Even if it is the summertime, you can get hypothermia from just the sheer drastic drop in temperature when it rains. So it's very important that you have something like this. I'm using here is a military style poncho. This is just basic standard issue stuff. You can get it on you know, a site like Amazon and stuff. They have ponchos like these that you can get for yourself. Doesn't have to be anything exactly standard issue per se. You can go with you know, the cheaper stuff, but you know, be aware you are getting what you pay for there, and this is one of those things that can be a life-saving tool, so it does pay to splurge a little extra on these. The decent ones go for about $40. You can get them for as low as about $25 or so. Just depends on what you got out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop out so you can see So as you can see, I have gotten lucky with this branch here and bungee corded there to this corner. Same thing, I found a little, like this isn't going to hold for long or a strong storm. This is just to keep the rain that is here off of me. You can see the hood. Ideally we want to prep that and tie it off. We will show that in a later video. And then you can see how my bag is propping up the corner that is staked down. What's great about that stake, that is a PLA print. We'll show that in later videos as well, 3D printing for survival reasons if you're curious about that kind of stuff. And then you can see in here is a pretty decent amount of space. Okay. Now that it's dry, I can go ahead and pack up and get this thing. It did come undone a little bit, but dried out a little bit. It's still a little wet, but we're gonna take all of this down, pack it back up in that little bag over there, get ready to head back home. Okay, we are now in different weather conditions. We're going to set up a more permanent shelter structure here, and I'm going to show you how I also linked in that wet weather condition shelter. You didn't really get good footage on how exactly I was tying that in, so we're going to show that right now. So unlike last time, I'm actually going to use this kit for the floor of my shelter. So we'll get this out after we set that up. But for now, we're going to use the actual permanent shelter kit. You can see I also have it easily available in case I do have to set up in the rain. That's still an option. And you can also see I have these quick clips, so I can just grab it and take it to where I'm going to set up shelter. It's going to be similar to the last shelter, but a little bit more like a tent. This is a $25 tarp with, I don't know, a $12 set of bungee cords, most of which I've lost, and a few stakes that I've gathered along the way. So this isn't a very fancy or expensive kit. This is basically all you need, though, to stay warm and dry in any weather condition. Okay, so this is the general area that I'm going to set up my shelter in. You set that off to the side and just hold on to this and unroll it. If I have it rolled up correctly, this shouldn't be an issue at all. Just unroll it. See, I have my bungee cords here ready, and then interlock between them just a few stakes I picked up along the way. I think one of these came with the tarp. These came with the hammock that I have. One of them is bent up. If you have bent up stakes, you don't have to toss them. You can always bend them back into shape. Like I said, these bungee cords come in real handy. This is a 10 by 10 tarp. It's the biggest size I recommend carrying, but it is really big and it makes for a really nice shelter, especially in adverse weather conditions. What I recommend doing is laying this sucker out so you have a feel for exactly where you want the footprint of your shelter to be. Like I said before, I'm going to assume a kind of tent style shelter, resembling a little bit more of a teepee as well. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. But as you can see, I'm going to stake down these three corners, and then this corner here I'm going to pull up and affix to this nearby tree for a kind of overhang shelter type situation. And as you can probably already tell, this is going to make for a great shelter. Now, with these type of stakes, unlike the PLA stakes that I used in the rain shelter, these are actually a little bit better for staking down the corners, so that's what I'm going to do. What I did differently for the rain shelter with the poncho, for example, is I actually looped into the corner with one end of the bungee, and then on the other end I looped into the stake itself. So and then you can do this differently with this kind of stake where you really have nothing to grip into. There's not much left there. You can actually wrap the bungee around itself and then stake that into the ground like so, and you can usually get a pretty good stake that way, but even when not much to work with, you can get something. In this situation though, I'm going to just actually stake through the loops into the ground so I have a good wind protection and rain protection as well, because this is going to be a ground shelter setup. Later in the backpacking video, you're going to see what a hammock shelter looks like and how that can easily be downgraded into a ground shelter like the one behind me. So without further ado, let me go ahead and finish setting this up. I'm going to actually line this up the best I can with that tree there so I can get a better link in there. I'm going to use, there we go, this one. Now, full disclosure, this is a site that was previously used for a shelter, but again, I just wanted to give you guys something to compare and contrast to. You can see how this is quite a big shelter I got here. And that's kind of the point. I want to make sure I have plenty of space for all of my gear and for everything that I need for a longer term stay. This is not our hasty, inclement weather kind of shelter. This is more of a, I'm going to stay, you know, at least a night or two in this, potentially even, you know, upwards of a couple of weeks if need be. This is why I'm kind of taking my sweet time. Now, the concept is still the same with the rain shelter as far as like staking it down. The difference being that I was moving a lot quicker and hastily, right? I didn't have the ability to set up the camera in the rain just for the sake of staying dry and controlling my body heat. But as you can see, I already staked those 3 down. That took, what, just a few minutes. I'm going to now use my bungee cord here to get this whole situation up. Now, you can tell this is a little bit flatter than I'm going to want it to be, but that's okay. This is where we come in, and then now I adjust the stakes as I need to get me more of a vertical lift for my shelter. So I'm going to stake that back down, and now I should be able to get more of a lift here for my shelter. We'll see how that goes. Yep, there it goes. Now you can see I'm getting a little bit more of a lift. All I'm doing is just shifting this bungee cord up. But now you can see I have a pretty decent sized shelter that I can now set up in. I'm going to go in here, get rid of all these rocks. I don't need those. And then I'm going to take the poncho that I used for the last shelter and I'm going to lay it down as a bed. All right, so same as before. I'm going to pull out my poncho here. And I'm actually going to put pattern down. And I'm just going to spread out enough for what I need. And I want to make sure I'm close to the edges of the limits here. But yeah, you can see how this is a fairly large shelter, much larger than it actually looks from the outside. Roughly laid out there. And this would be where I would sleep on with my sleep system or whatever I have available with me in my 3-day bag. You can see this is again a very large shelter for just one person, but also can keep me very warm. If I do start to get super cold, and now again I can stake this down similarly like I explained before as well, but if I start to get cold I can also bring this side down, that middle piece being bungee to the other bigger tree, kind of give me a triangle type of shelter, which I can demonstrate now. So I will do, and again, what's great about this situation is that it really doesn't take but a few seconds to change over. As you can see, I'm now in my heavy storm configuration. I can still comfortably get in here, you know, do what I got to do. And now my body heat's going to be very well maintained, as well as my gear is going to stay very dry back here in this quadrant where I would normally keep it. So hopefully you got a better sense from this video. On the backpacking video, we're also going to show how to break this down into those neat little rolls that you saw me breaking out of. We're going to go over the kind of tying everything together that we've talked about in the channel so far, give you a better sense of how all this equipment goes quite well together. Going to adjust this back up just again so you can see how easy this is to just adjust on the fly. This is one of the reasons I love bungee cords and this type of shelter. If this was a tent, I would still be very much talking you through setting it up, and it's something we will cover later on in the channel, but not right now. We want you to know the basics of, you know, your hasty shelter materials like your military style ponchos, and then your more permanent shelter options like this $25 tarp that's just incredibly useful and very big. And even if you do get a nice tent, you can put this over it as a kind of extra layer of protection. You can use this as an awning if you do have a tent set up. It just has so many uses. This has become one of my favorite shelter ideas, simply from my time in the military. We did the Ranger Diamond a lot. You've probably seen that featured on, you know, a multitude of channels, Dirty Civilian, Grand Thumb, you know, channels like that. So if you're looking into something that's not quite, if you're looking for something that's not quite Ranger Diamond primitive, but still has that ease of setup, but with just a much better footprint, this is kind of going to be the thing for you. Now, obviously, this is not an option if you're trying to be evasive or in an austere environment. The Ranger Diamond is probably going to be your best bet, which again, something that we can feature in a later video, but there's already so much on YouTube. I wanted to cover things that I don't really see on YouTube much, and this being one of them. This is just something that I kind of came up with over time from both backpacking with Boy Scouts before my military time and in the service, just spending a lot of time out in the field and not wanting to deal with big setups and big collapsing of my gear. So this is kind of what I've adopted. I don't personally run a tent. I don't like tents. They are a lot of time and effort to set up and break down. They have their place. I'm not knocking them. I think that they're useful for certain environments. There are environments where I would use a tent. However, what I don't particularly like about them, again, is that time and effort consumption. And when I'm out backpacking or in a field or survival situation, I want to conserve as much energy and calories as I can. Something, as you saw, as easily as it is to set this little guy up, it takes no time and energy, and that's more time and effort you can dedicate towards things that do require that skill and that energy, like chopping up wood or, you know, just building a maybe stronger shelter. And this could be your meantime shelter where you can use just for your gear. But the whole point is that the more you can diversify your gear to be modular to the situation, to adapt to the situation, instead of just being this one piece of gear that does this one thing. I highly recommend that, and that's kind of the philosophy we go through on this channel, is that we want gear that's going to be able to serve multiple purposes. That way we can have gear that's very light, that's not going to break our back, and we're going to be able to move, a lot further distances a lot quicker, especially if we're in a evasive posture and we're trying to get out of some sort of danger area. The type of preparedness that we're all about on Modern Grunt Survival isn't the whole get ready for war mentality. We're more of like the just let's know some basic skills in case economic times are rough. Then you have some basic survival skills that you can lean on. Lose work, whatever the case may be. Life comes at you hard sometimes, and it doesn't hurt to have some basic survival skills. The other side of that is, let's say, worst case scenario, you are caught in some sort of, attack or some sort of thing. There are crazy things going on in the U.S. lately. So if you're caught up in one of those situations, knowing how to properly evade that situation is also something that's very useful. We're going to get into on the channel as well. But more important than getting away is just knowing how to, sustain yourself when you are kind of, caught in off guard situation. You could be traveling abroad and find yourself in a survival situation, or just traveling to another state and finding yourself in that survival situation. So just things to think about, that not everything is about the end of the world. Not everything is about, a fallen state or a foreign enemy. It could just be that you're in the wrong time, the wrong place. And these sets of skills can come in extremely handy for, helping you survive that situation and actually be able to do so with a certain sense of comfort, which can be astoundingly rewarding in that setting when you already have some sort of readiness for that type of scenario. There is no such thing as knowing the exact scenario that you're going to face, and there's no such thing as predicting the future. We're not going to try to do that on this channel. What we can do, though, is pass on little skills like setting up a shelter in a few minutes with minimal effort. The fire skills that we've already showed you, the basic situational awareness considerations, all things that, are going to bode really well for you if you ever do find yourself in an emergency or survival situation. Having said that, thank you for watching all of our content so far. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to hear about our future episodes. The next episode for the survival series is going to be talking about hydration and water filtration. And also keep an eye out for our first aid videos coming out. We will have a series for that as well. Stay alert, stay alive.